All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Show. Now, the 2020 NFL season is upon us. I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to begin their quest for a second consecutive Super Bowl championship with a victory at home last night by the score of 34-20. And that is exactly how the Chiefs were able to win. They did it with their offense. Their defense was on point when they had to be. And more importantly, like I said, this is going to be a very difficult season for the Texans and quarterback Deshaun Watson following the surprising trade of wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. Now, with that said, we have some good games on tap for Sunday as well as a doubleheader on Monday night. And with that said, here are my picks for the remainder of week 1 in the NFL season. Now, I'm going to get started tomorrow at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, this game is going to be indoors as it will feature the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, with head coach Pete Carroll and quarterback Russell Wilson, the Seahawks have been a perennial playoff team every single season. Now, we've seen the transition over the last couple of years from the Seahawks being a defensive-oriented team to a team that is more focused and built around the talents of Russell Wilson at quarterback. I think Russell Wilson is playing some of the best football of his career. We're talking about a guy who is definitely going to be in the mix for the NFL MVP award this season, and I don't see this Falcons defense being able to slow him down. On the flip side, you have a veteran quarterback for Atlanta and Matt Ryan going to his go-to guy consistently on the outside in Julio Jones. I think that Ryan will have his opportunities to get the ball to Jones in this contest, but it will not be enough as I'm going to take Seattle on the road by the score of 34-24. Now at Bill Stadium in Orchard Park, it's an AFC East showdown as you're going to have the Buffalo Bills hosting the New York Jets. Both of these teams met in week 1 to begin the 2019 NFL season, and the Jets dominated for the first half, jumped out to a 16-0 lead, and then before you know it, the brakes fell off, and the Bills rallied to win this contest. Of course, Buffalo, they really relied on their defense last year to get to the postseason, and I think they're going to try to do it again. This arguably could be the best defense in the NFL for the 2020 season. You look at Buffalo, they have a slew of pass rushers in their front seven. They are stout in their secondary, and they're going to make life tough for opposing defenses. That's one thing that the youngster at quarterback for the Jets, Sam Darnold, has yet to prove consistently, that he can get it done against the quality defenses. But the Achilles heel of this Buffalo's team over the past couple of years has been their offense. Quarterback Josh Allen is going to have to step up, and he's going to have to make some plays from the pocket. But luckily for him, the Jets no longer have their guy on that defense in Jamal Adams, as he was traded to the Seattle Seahawks. I think this Bills defense will do enough, and their offense will score just enough points. I'm going to take Buffalo at home in this one by the score of 24-17. Now at Ford Field in Motown, it's going to be an NFC North showdown as you're going to have the Detroit Lions hosting the Chicago Bears. And for the Bears, they have all of the talent in the world on the defensive side of the ball. Too many questions on offense, especially at quarterback with Mitchell Trubisky. Now the Lions are rallying on the return of Matt Stafford at quarterback. Injuries have begun to get the best of him in recent years. But I think the Lions at home in this one are going to be tough to dethrone. Thus, I'm going to take them by the score of 23-20. Now, another NFC North showdown here has Green Bay Packers traveling to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Pretty good possibility that come December, these two teams are going to be slugging it out for the top spot in the NFC North. Both of these clubs made the postseason last year. Of course, it was the Packers who won the NFC North. And both of these teams saw their seasons come to an end due to a road loss in the postseason at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers. For the Green Bay Packers, they still have number 12 under center, and I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. And I think right now, at this point in his career, Aaron Rodgers is going to be very motivated. Why? Because we saw the Packers take Jordan Love, the quarterback, in the first round of this year's NFL draft. Rodgers knows that his time could be coming to an end in Green Bay real soon, but he wants to go out there and show that he still has it done. Now, Kirk Cousins at quarterback for Minnesota has had some pretty good days versus the Green Bay Packers since he joined the Vikings a couple of years ago. It's going to be one of those things. Will this Packers defense be able to make Cousins uncomfortable in that pocket? We'll have to wait and see. Of course, this was a Vikings team that traded wide receiver Stephon Diggs during the offseason to the Buffalo Bills. So, of course, Cousins lost his go-to guy on the outside. But I'm not going to write off A-Rod in this game. I'm going to take the Packers in a tight one on the road by the score of 27-23. Now, back in the AFC East, it's going to be the Miami Dolphins returning to the scene of the crime as they take on the new-look New England Patriots. Remember, it was last year in week number 17 when the Dolphins did not have a lot to play for. They were big-time underdogs, and they went into Foxborough, defeated the Patriots, took away their chance to have a first-round bye, and, of course, a week later, the Pats were eliminated in the first round by the Tennessee Titans. No more Tom Brady at quarterback for the Patriots, as head coach Bill Belichick has now turned the former NFL MVP Cam Newton to replace Brady under center. And it's a situation, Newton has really ingratiated himself early on to the Patriot style, the Patriot way, how they get things done, and his teammates have really gravitated towards him, and you really want to see that for a new quarterback coming in to a new system. You still have some talent there on the offensive side of the football. I expect Newton to get the ball to the likes of Julian Edelman early and often at wide receiver. And let's not forget, this is still a rock-solid Patriots defense. So I'm going to take New England at home in this contest by the score of 27-20. Now, in the NFC East, you are going to have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to take on the Washington football team. And for Philly, what can you say? They've been up and down, in and out over the last few years of quarterback Carson Wentz, but you know what? He is still their guy. The talent is on this team. They still have plenty of players that were on that championship team from a few years ago, and they want to try to find a way to go back and get it done. Now, for Washington, new head coach and Ron Rivera, he wants to go out there and establish things for his club, especially with a young quarterback under center in Dwayne Haskins. I think this Washington club is definitely going to play hard for Ron Rivera, but the bottom line is they're not there talent-wise to compete with Philadelphia right now. Thus, I'm going to take the Eagles on the road by the score of 31-23. Now, right now on the road in Charlotte, it's going to be Ron Rivera's old club in the Carolina Panthers hosting the Las Vegas Raiders, and we have to get accustomed to saying that. New head coach for Carolina in Matt Rule, and he has a new quarterback to go with in Teddy Bridgewater. But you look at this Raiders team, they now have some time under their belt with John Gruden as their head coach. And does John Gruden fully believe in Derek Carr at quarterback? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But I guarantee you, John Gruden has coached his team up all off season long for this moment. Why? Because he understands the importance to get off to a strong start if you're the Raiders, if you want to be a postseason team in 2020. And more importantly, the Raiders need to pick up all of the victories possible outside of the AFC West if they're going to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs in this division. I think Las Vegas, almost said Oakland, goes out there and takes care of their business. And I'm going to take the silver and black on the road in this one by the score of 24-20. Now, in the AFC South, you are going to have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. Indianapolis comes into this contest favored by 7.5 points, in spite of the fact that they have a new quarterback under center. After spending all of his NFL career up to this point with the Chargers, Phillip Rivers now has a new football home as he is going to be the starting quarterback for the Colts. You look at this Jacksonville team, and they are expected to struggle this year. We've seen them trade some players already this season and even release former first-round pick Leonard Fournette at running back this offseason. They have second-year quarterback Gardner Minshew that, people got behind Minshew mania last season. But, however, I think he's going to have his struggles this season, especially with not having Fournette. But also, more importantly, all of those defenses around the NFL, they now have a year's worth of game film on Minshew, so they know his tendencies. They know what he likes and what he does not like. And because of that, I think he's not going to have a stellar sophomore campaign. I think this Colts team could be in that mix to win this division. It's not going to take a lot due to the fact that I don't expect the AFC South to do it to be great this year. 8 wins might do it, but Indy gets things started on the right foot by picking up a road win within the division in this one by the score of 24-20. Now in the AFC North, you're going to have the Cleveland Browns traveling to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore comes into this contest favored by 7.5 points. They were one of, if not the best team in the NFL for 2019 during the regular season, but they fell short in the postseason at home to the Tennessee Titans. The Ravens will begin this season with the reigning NFL MVP at quarterback in Lamar Jackson, as he is a wizard coming out of that backfield, whether it's with his arm or with his feet, as he is the new and improved Michael Vick. You look at Baker Mayfield and this Cleveland team on the other side. They want to go out there and they want to put 2019 behind them. And I think so far Mayfield has been more focused this season after he ate a huge slice of humble pie last season. I think the Browns will be a better team in 2020 than they were in 2019. But the bottom line is they're not quite there with Baltimore yet. And I'm going to take the Ravens at home in a good one by the score of 34-27. Now, in Cincinnati, you're going to have the Bengals hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Chargers come into this contest favored by 3 points. More than likely, it's going to be Tyrod Taylor under center for Cincinnati going up against the rookie Joe Burrow for the Bengals. And right here, advantage Cincinnati. Why? Because they finished 2019 on a strong note, but more importantly, they really like Joe Burrow. They believe in Joe Burrow, and more importantly, the Chargers don't have any game film on Burrow because due to the fact that there was no preseason, nobody knows what to expect of this kid. This is a typical game where the Chargers will find a way to lose, and I think this is going to be my upset special of week number 1, as I'm going to take Cincinnati at home in this one to defeat the Chargers by the score of 27-24. Now, the big one that everybody is talking about this weekend, you're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. And of course, it's the dawn of a new era in Tampa Bay Buccaneers football, as Tom Brady, after 20 years with the New England Patriots, is now going to be suiting up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at quarterback. There are people around that feel that Tom Brady does not have anything left in the tank. And on the other hand, Tom Brady is going out there with something to prove. What we've seen over the years is Bucs head coach Bruce Arians finds a way to rally his team, get his teams up for the challenge, whether it be currently in Tampa Bay or previously when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. On the flip side for the Saints, they've had a couple of heartbreaking playoff losses. This team has to ask themselves how close or how much more do they need to find a way to get over the hump. And both of these teams want to get the season started off on the right foot, especially with a win in week number 1, but more importantly, a victory within the division. Let's not forget, you still got veteran Drew Brees at quarterback. The Saints are still solid on defense, and they want to try to go out there and find a way to rattle Brady. But Brady has a lot of talent around him with the likes of Mike Evans at wide receiver, O.J. Howard at tight end, and of course, the newly acquired Leonard Fournette at running back. This is going to live up to the hype. I do believe it's going to be the game of the week. And the last team to possess the football wins this one. I think it's Tampa Bay. And I'm going to take the Bucs on the road by the score of 30-27. Now, in the Bay Area, the only NFL team left in the Bay Area right now, as you're going to have the defending NFC champion San Francisco 49ers hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Now, for the Niners, they got off to that hot start in 2019, and they were able to ride that wave of momentum to a Super Bowl appearance, but they want to avoid that dreaded Super Bowl hangover, especially for the teams that lost the Super Bowl in the previous season. Jimmy Garoppolo is a solid NFL quarterback. He's not a great NFL quarterback. He's a solid NFL quarterback. And he specializes in getting the football out of his hands real quick to the talent around him. But make no mistake about it, Jimmy Garoppolo just wants to go out there and not lose this game. Why? Because you have so much talent on that defense, especially in that front four. And it's going to be imperative for the Niners to go out there and get off to a hot start defensively due to the fact that quarterback Kyler Murray is the real deal. And now what the Cardinals have done, they've gone out there and they've given Kyler Murray more talent to work with the likes of Duke Hopkins at wide receiver. And he's going to put pressure on a San Francisco secondary, which is still reeling following their loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I think Hopkins is going to have a big day in this contest for all of you fantasy football buffs out there. But I think the Niners find a way to eke this one out at home by the score of 23-22. Now on Sunday night, you're going to have the Dallas Cowboys traveling to take on the Los Angeles Rams. And for the Rams, they're opening in their stadium in Inglewood, California. Of course, no fans right there going there right now due to COVID. But it's a situation for the Rams. They still want to get off to a good start in their new digs. However, with the Rams team that we saw make the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, there's been a big-time roster overhaul since then. No more Todd Gurley at running back, which is big because he took so much of the pressure off of quarterback Jared Goff. Defensively, the Rams still have talent. You still have Aaron Donald on that defensive line. They just signed cornerback Jalen Ramsey to a big extension. But the bottom line is the Rams have to come to play in this game. Why? Because you look at a Dallas Cowboys team that wants to go out there and make a statement. Dallas, they're always on everybody's minds, quote unquote, being next year's champions. And maybe this is the year they put it together. Quarterback Dak Prescott still hasn't got the extension that he wanted. So he's a motivated guy and he wants to go out there and play some quality ball. And if Aaron Donald and that front line for the Rams are unable to get to him early, they could have a tough evening on their hands in this one. I think Jared Goff has really regressed since the Rams made their Super Bowl appearance a few years ago. I'm really not a believer in him. I believe in Dak Prescott much more than I believe in Jared Goff at this point in the game. And thus, I'm going to take the Cowboys on the road in this one by the score of 34-24. Now, moving to Monday night, of course, we have that doubleheader, and it begins at the Meadowlands as the New York Football Giants will host the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for Pittsburgh, they're hopeful that Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback can have the form that he once had. Of course, Big Ben missed the majority of the 2019 NFL season with an elbow injury, and of course, it limited the chances of the Steelers. They still had a rock-solid defense, but they could never get it going at quarterback last season, and it really hindered what they did. Now, with Big Ben back under center for Pittsburgh, the guy who I expect to benefit from this the most is wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. Had a big-time down campaign for 2019, but I expect him to be on top of this game. Now, for this Pittsburgh defense, they were lights out last year, and they want to go out there and make life tough for the second-year quarterback for the Giants in Daniel Jones. What we've seen with Daniel Jones in his brief career, as sometimes he does not protect the football while he is in the pocket, and I expect the Steelers defense to try to go out there and exploit that. This Giants team under new head coach Joe Judge, they're going to be exciting and they're going to be tough. I'll give you that because Joe Judge is going out there. He said all the right things so far to the media and to his team, but that alone cannot win football games. The Giants are a decent team, and I want to see how it plays out for them throughout the season. I think they will play hard for Joe Judge, but I don't see them getting over the Steelers in this one, as I'm going to take Pittsburgh by the score of 23-18. And in the second half of the doubleheader on Monday night, you're going to have the Denver Broncos hosting the Tennessee Titans. And for Denver, this season is going to get started on the wrong foot. Why? Because they just got some bad news that outside linebacker Von Miller could miss the entire season due to an ankle injury. They were expected to have him back along with Bradley Chubb this season, and that really changes the tone as far as what this team was looking like defensively. The Broncos are going with a young quarterback and Drew Lock under center, and of course, they're going to be able to run the football with Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay coming out of the backfield. But for this Titans team, they can run the football too with big Derrick Henry. And it's going to be interesting to see what type of season he has. Why? Due to the fact that this guy led the NFL in carries last season with more than 300. How fresh will the big fella be? We'll have to wait and see. But the Titans are rock solid on defense as well, with the likes of Jadeveon Clowney, who they just picked up, and I think this is one he's going to be a sleeper this season as being one of the top defensive players, because you look at what Clowney brings to the table with his pass rushing ability. I think the Titans want to go out there and show that their run to the AFC Championship game was not a fluke in 2019. They want to try to find a way to build off of that. And how do you build off of that? You get things started on the right foot in the following season. And I'm going to take Tennessee on the road in this one by the score of 27-17. So, folks, those are my picks for the first week of the 2020 NFL season. And I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Now, if you have not already, please feel free to like and hit that subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, you can check me out at the Sports Depot 365, as it is one of the better sports groups going on social media. If you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me on Twitter at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.